do you think is going to pay the SIPC fund? Where does the money come from?
Taxes, of course. The government.
All right, so you mean that the taxpayer owes the Madoff investors their principal back. But let's start from the top, since I'm very good at figuring out math. I don't need a computer. Let's say someone gave Madoff $1 million 10 years ago, and he was earning 10% interest per year. How much money did he take out of that fund?
$1 million.
All right, so why is he complaining that he lost $1 million? He lost nothing.
That's one example. There are many. What about people that...
Well, let's take that example. A guy put in $1 million. 10 years later, he took out over $1 million, by the way, with compounded interest, and he spent it. Now he's complaining, oh, the principal is gone. Well, that's what a Ponzi scheme is. So who should get compensated, Joseph?
People that invested at the end that didn't take their money out. And those
all right, so it's the guys and the women at the end got the short end of the stick. All their principal was gone, and they received nothing back. Right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and I'm also saying that SEC...
Well, hold on, but let's take them as individual cases. Why should I pay them back for a bad investment? If I make an investment, is it not with inherent risk?
Because they're paying taxes for the government to regulate the industry. The government did not do its job. Therefore, the government has to replenish the money that they lost.
Well, I don't agree with you. I think that the people at the SEC who didn't do their job should go to jail. And I think that they should be fined. I think the money should come out of their personal bank accounts. I would like to see the head of the SEC investigated. How come Chris Cox is above all of this? How come his name never comes up? Let's go to that. The head of the SEC was a man named Chris Cox, Republican. Why has his name never come up in any of this Madoff stuff?
I guess he has political connections.
I'm not saying he did anything wrong, but I haven't heard from him. What about our former Treasury Secretary, old Hank Paulson, who ripped off $1 trillion of taxpayer money to bail out Wall Street and did things that were incomprehensible under Bush? Why is he never investigated?
Because he was working for Bush. Why isn't Bush investigated?
Why isn't Obama investigated with regard to his place of birth?
Could be. He was born in Kenya. I agree.
Well, okay. So in other words, there are certain people in this country who are above the law. We're not amongst them, are we, Joseph?
We could agree on that 100%.
All right. Well, at least we disagree on some things and agree on others, and therefore you won't go away, man. In fact, I like you so much today, even though you normally break my you-know-what. I'm going to send you a copy of Psychological Nudity for July 4th. Doesn't even want it. All right. No, we'll send it to him. I think I'm going to work on the next installment of Psychological Nudity. I'm working on a lot of things again. I come out of my doldrums. I had a 2-month job, 2 months of doldrums. Wow. I found out what I've known all along, though, about my own mind. I am riboflavin and or thiamine dependent. My psyche is riboflavin and thiamine dependent. Many of you don't even know what I'm talking about. Because many of you take vitamins and you know it boosts your mood, particularly if you've been doing it with the proper supplements for long enough as I have. I don't think you understand how important B2 and B1 are. Many of you know about B3 and niacin. You probably know nothing about riboflavin and thiamine. I'm somewhat of a minor expert on these particular B vitamins with regard to mood stimulation, but I don't want to go into it right now. I tell you, when I miss a few days of B2 and B1, I have a sense of doom. I have a sense that, nothing's right. I have a sense that, doom is around the corner, all things are bad. And then when I get the right B2, B1 levels, I can feel it almost within minutes. My vision improves and my mood improves. And you won't hear that from your local doctor, by the way, because they're going to put you on Prozac, Lipitor, Prilosec, the one for the down below. What's that one called? Viagra? Do you know how many different drugs the average man over 50 is on? Do you have any idea how many drugs you don't need they put you on? Today came out what I've been telling you for 20 years now, that acetaminophen is a kidney killer and a liver killer. And the reason I knew that is because there was so many people with liver damage in this country, and I tried to figure out over 20 years why all of a sudden was there such a cluster of a demand for liver transplants. Then I turned the TV on, and they're telling normal, healthy athletes, men and women, to take 6-8 Tylenol a day. They made it look like it was a vitamin for you, when I knew at least 15 years ago in graduate school that acetaminophen was a very dangerous drug with regard to your kidneys and your liver. I used it extremely sparingly, if at all. I prefer aspirin, by the way, for any kind of pain. For me, aspirin's a minor miracle drug, and it has a safety record, bar none, in all the painkiller category, incidentally. But what I'm getting at is, in addition to the Tylenol and Tylenol-related acetaminophen drugs, you are on 6 to 8 prescription drugs. Like if I rarely go to a doctor for something, which happens from time to time, the first thing they say to me is, what medications are you on? And I say none. The nurse looks up at me. None, she says? A man your age on no drugs? I said, no drugs. How is that possible? Because I have a degree in nutrition, a PhD. I'm a practitioner of what I preach. I've written books on the subject. I don't need them. Thank you very much. Not yet. I may. Tomorrow I may need them. Okay? Can't you kick the drug habit? Because it's not only good for your health, it's good for society. One of the reasons we're going broke is because you've been turned into a drug-addicted victim of the medical pharmaceutical establishment, in my opinion. Whatever. Now let's go to the callers. Fort Lauderdale, Michael, welcome to the Savage Nation.
Dr. Savage, you're not the only one who lives by that code of complaining. You are like a carbon copy of listening to my dear old dad. And it's like
all right, now, but here, okay, I accept it. I'm an older guy in radio. In fact, I'm probably at this point the most senior member of the talk radio clan, even though we all hate each other and are jealous of each other. I am the most senior member. But do you find it bad radio or good radio to listen to my problems?
I find it wonderful and captivating because it brings up just so many wonderful memories and of my relatives from the Bronx and family vacations that turned to misery and lousy hotels. Oh, it's like
family vacations that turned to misery. That is such. Why does that make me happy? What's wrong with me?
I don't know, but, you know, I've been in many a room. I was Williamsburg, Virginia. We were baited and switched where we got a bum room next to a railroad track. And
and I'll bet when you call in advance, you told them quiet room, and they said, yes, sir, right?
Oh, absolutely. It was, you know, it was the second coming of Valhalla, and we ended up in some podunk flea bag motel. It was.
Oh, so in other words, my complaints, although they're kind of tiresome, they're actually real, and you like listening to them because they're based on reality.
Affectionately, and my family referred to them as my father's observations. They're no longer.
So when your father took you on vacation, you changed rooms a couple of times each trip?
We changed hotels.
Oh, he was a step ahead of me.
Oh, he's.
I didn't have the gumption to take the kids to another whole building. Although I was close to it a few times. What was your father like in a restaurant? How many tables a night?
I was just going to get to that. How about this? He's the kind of guy that would be barking out rebuttals to these New England ponytail, Oxford shirt-wearing liberals. He'd be behind.
What do you mean? What do you mean? He would listen to them at other tables?
Oh, he would eavesdrop, and then he would chime in something. He would return.
Oh, so he would actually take them on at the other table.
Okay, here's the priceless story. You'll get a kick out of this. We're in a supermarket parking lot. A kind of a young man's car drives by with that South Beach techno music blaring. There's the person in the passenger car has long hair. So my father said, "Hey, lady, you're a little old to be playing that kind of music, aren't you?" Well, anyway, the car parks, and out gets this Fabio-looking man.
Oh, a muscular guy with long hair. Here it comes.
Yeah. So the South Boston Irish came out of my father, and it was a sight to behold.
Well, what happened? Now you got me on the edge of my seat. What happened?
They exchanged words, and in order to make the peace, my father didn't know really how to do it, so he bought him a flower. He said, "Because I don't know what to make of you." So he bought him a flower.
Yeah, but the guy didn't take a swing at your father. He probably knew your father was just a guy with strong opinions and guts.
My father's a tough South Boston Irish guy. Cop for 25 years, Vietnam veteran. He doesn't take lip service.
Yeah, but wait a minute. In his 60s, he could have gotten his butt whipped by the young Fabio, right?
Oh, absolutely not. My father.
What do you mean? Your father could have beaten up the Fabio character?
My father scares the death out of me, and I'm a grown man.
Oh, you mean your father's still with us?
Yes, I have the pleasure of my company of my father routinely. Thank God.
You're a lucky man. Oh, you're lucky that he's still living.
And again, I want to thank you for just, bringing me down with those memories and just, all the guys from New York.
Hey, let me ask you, Michael, the weather in Fort Lauderdale has been very rainy in the last few months, right? It's on and off every day?
On and off every day, 3 o'clock, like clockwork. And my summer baseball program, we're getting rained out.
Because I'm planning on going to Florida soon. I know in the summer. Why? Because the water's 85 degrees. That's why. But the rain is keeping me away.
I would love to take you tarpon fishing.
Yeah, it'll be a one-way trip. It's a Sicilian fishing trip, a one-way trip, huh?
Absolutely not. I would love to take you into some pristine country and the back country and teach you how to fish for tarpon and bonefish and be in places.
That's amazing. So you do the real McCoy. What kind of boat do you use?
I use a Hughes, 19-foot flat skiff with a tunnel hull, so I don't.
Oh, you're a real fisherman.
I moved down here from Boston specifically.
Yeah, and you thought you were getting away from the liberals, huh?
No, I moved into Liberal Central.
Yes.
Thank God
Fort Lauderdale, the whole area of South Florida is so communistic, it's frightening.
Es porque yo hablo español, señor.
No, except for the Cubans. And by the way, the young Cubans are already twisted in their brains. They're half Castroites.